Welcome to Architrave Gaming. I'm Matthias, the Archmaster. One big thing about the world itself. I have no idea what I'm going to title this thing because I'm probably going to talk about 14 different topics. One big thing, it's not even one, it's a lot. One big thing about my fantasy world, right? For, you could say for D&D, but it's really just a fantasy world. It's enormous, right? It's more than one. It's not more than one world. It is one world that is bigger than what you would expect one world to be, made up of small parts. I'm not making any sense. One really cool thing about my world is that it totally shakes the foundations of what you would expect a fantasy world to be. The Lord is very generous. Over the last 3 years, I have gotten some crazy ideas from eating breakfast to slurping chicken juice off of a plate to just staring at the clouds to listening to music. So much of my world has been inspired by music, specifically Falling Up. But there's, 30 Seconds to Mars, Linkin Park, Sleep Token. There are a whole bunch of good ones in there. But mostly Falling Up, seriously. It's just a crazy amount. But so much of the world has been completely revolutionized, from music to random experiences I have in life everywhere. And the ideas are, they have specific applications, but the ideas themselves are so broad, they're so enormous that they can apply to so many different things. It's really cool. Okay, so just like the idea of this is a recent one. I was drinking the bottle of water, like drinking this, and when it's full, you start drinking it, it starts collapsing in on itself, right? Because you're sucking the water out and there's no air to replace it, so it starts collapsing. And I thought, what if that's like this law of nature where there are various things which, support each other in the same way that the water supports the structure of the plastic bottle. So, say kings support the weather, the rains. So, in the same way that you can drink water out of a bottle and the bottle collapses, the plastic collapses, if you kill a king, then the weather collapses, the weather stops, right? That the kings are the supports for these parts of nature, right? It's a very broad idea. You could say, what if a certain race, like, halflings. What if halflings support healing? So if you kill all the halflings, healing magic doesn't work anymore, right? It's a broad idea. You can apply it to dozens and dozens and dozens of hundreds of things. You can apply it to anything. You can say, what if, commerce or gold itself, like the physical substance of gold supports, the day and night cycle. So if people are buying and spending gold and the economy is good and then the sun is bright and shiny and the crops grow and people are warm and whatnot. But if commerce stalls, then you pull commerce out of that bottle, then it starts to collapse, and so the day-night cycle starts to collapse. So you have longer nights, or the sun doesn't shine as bright, or gets set sooner, or it gets colder. You can make any, like, a D&D adventure out of this. Like, pick a thing, and this thing supports this other thing. So if you remove this, or hurt it, or change it, like, there's so much you can do with the water itself. If you change that thing, then this other thing collapses, and you can interpret it however you want, right? It's such a broad idea. And so, I take that and put it in my world and be like, okay, cool. In this world, gold supports sunlight, and that's the day-night cycle, right? I can pick a certain application of it. But you, in your own world, can take that idea of X supports X and be like, oh, wow, I can apply this to so many things, right? And it's things like that, but hundreds of them. My world is filled with hundreds of things like that, where it's like, if you play this right and you think about all the world building implications and whatnot, this could revolutionize all of your assumptions about a world. You can take that idea that X supports X and apply it to multiple things within the same world. You can say dwarves support elves. If you kill dwarves, the elves die. Or you can say, dwarves support the earth. So if you somehow pull the dwarves out of the earth, then all the ground either like physically collapses, and you have sinkholes everywhere and stuff, where all the mines and the caves and everything, all the dungeons collapse and close because the dwarves left, because the dwarves' presence in there kept them open. Or you can say that the ground is like poisoned and the crops stop growing and whatnot. So like, just an idea, like, the more dwarves there are, the more fertile the ground is, the more stable it is, the more dungeons there are, etc. Whatever you want to say. That concept, it's like, are your GM muscles firing now? It's like, I wonder what you can do that. What if, the wood elves actually supported the forest and the seasons and at least spring, right? What if the wood elves supported spring? And so if you kill the wood elves or drive them out from an area, you don't get spring anymore. Spring collapses. It's not there. like you can just keep taking this idea and apply it to races and classes and magic and entities and like anything you want. You can just keep applying it to this and this and that and layer it on top of the world, so your players get in and they're truly they're shown something new. Or it's like, this is an idea I've never really seen before. This is interesting. It gives them a new way to interact with the world itself. And that's just like, I could keep going with examples, but I'm sure tons of people in the comments can come up with tons of examples as well. And please add to them. But yeah, stuff like that. Probably a bunch of this channel, maybe even starting out, is just going to be me telling you all these little random ideas I have and be like, you see this idea? I have hundreds of these, and they can revolutionize my world and your world in this way. Look, and then give me funding or join my team if you want to be part of this. That's probably what it'll be. I don't want the video to be too long because algorithms, speaking of that, feed the algorithm. Have a good day. God bless.